Picture this. Your company has just signed off on a multi-million-dollar AI initiative. The slide deck promised automated support, smarter sales, and back-office workflows that run themselves. 6 months later, the dashboards look impressive, but your profit and loss statement has barely moved. Here is the uncomfortable truth. For most companies, that money has vanished into an AI black hole. An MIT study looked at more than 150 companies and over 300 AI deployments. Their finding was brutal. 95% of generative AI pilots are failing to deliver real business impact. We are talking $35 to $40 billion poured into tools that barely nudge revenue. But here's the twist nobody tells you. The problem is not the models. It is your architecture. Inside a typical company, the AI stack looks like a Rube Goldberg machine made of software logos. ChatGPT drafts sales emails over here. A custom chatbot handles support tickets over there. Separate tools schedule appointments and push updates into your operations platforms. None of them share context. None of them learn across workflows, and every new tool means another brittle integration that can snap at any moment. Consultant Nick Puru has seen this up close across more than 40 automation deployments. He argues that businesses are building their AI stack completely wrong. They are stitching together point solutions instead of designing a system. MIT has a name for the result: the learning gap. On one side, you have impressive chatbots in a browser tab. On the other, you have messy, multi-system workflows that actually run your company. Right now, your AI has amnesia by design. Every time a chat window closes, it forgets your customer's history, your internal policies, and the last 20 edge cases you painstakingly corrected. Next week, when it writes a refund email, it starts from zero again. That is fine if you are a single salesperson shaving 10 minutes off an outreach email, but it is catastrophic. You are trying to build compounding, organization-wide intelligence. Think about a real support workflow. A useful assistant should remember past tickets, know which products are on back order, understand which discounts finance approved last quarter, and route exceptions correctly. A hiring pipeline needs an agent that tracks candidates across stages, feedback, and approvals, not just a bot that rewrites job posts. Without persistent, shared context, your AI never graduates beyond being a clever demo. Here is where the stakes get real. McKinsey reports that 88% of companies say they use AI regularly, yet only 39% see any impact on enterprise-level earnings. That leaves 61% spending millions on tools that do not move the bottom line at all. The uncomfortable pattern is clear. We are over-investing in shiny sales and marketing toys and under-investing in the unsexy back-office automation that actually drives profit. So what actually fixes this? Enter Model Context Protocol, or MCP. Think of it as the USB-C of AI. Before USB-C, every device shipped with its own weird cable. Now, one connector works for laptops, phones, and displays. MCP does the same for AI. One standard way for models to talk to tools, data sources, and business systems through a single, consistent interface. Engineers call the old mess the N times M problem. With 5 AI tools and 10 business systems, you are staring at 50 separate integrations to build, secure, and maintain. Every time an API changes, something breaks. MCP collapses that complexity. You wire each business system into one MCP server once, then any compatible AI client, from Claude to ChatGPT to your own agents, plugs into that server without custom glue code. Under the hood, an MCP server exposes standardized tools and resources. Think of them as verbs and data. Query the CRM, post a Slack message, read a policy document, update a support ticket. Your AI calls those tools through MCP so it can pull live data, act on it, and keep context across workflows instead of starting from a blank slate each time. In a moment, we will see how that effectively gives your AI a real memory. Adoption is not creeping along at enterprise speed. It is moving at startup speed. An archive study that Nick Puru cites tracks more than 8 million weekly software development kit downloads for MCP. OpenAI, Google DeepMind, Microsoft, and Anthropic are all backing this one standard. That matters for you because MCP becomes a portability layer. You get a unified interface to your own workflows without locking your future to a single model vendor. Now, let us talk about memory in practical terms. An MCP server is basically a smart adapter that exposes your business data through one standardized pipe. Instead of wiring ChatGPT separately into HubSpot, Gmail, Notion, and Zendesk, you point your AI client at one MCP server. That server catalogs your tools and data sources, from CRM records and email threads to calendars and ticketing systems, and presents them in a consistent way. When a customer reaches out, the AI can instantly pull their entire history through that MCP layer. Last 12 support tickets, open invoices, satisfaction scores, even the one refund exception your manager approved 6 months ago. Suddenly, the model behaves less like a generic chatbot and more like a veteran staffer who has seen thousands of similar cases. It follows your escalation rules, mirrors your tone guidelines, and respects edge case policies buried in some forgotten document. Over time, this turns any frontier model into a specialist trained on your workflows. Feedback, corrections, and outcomes loop back into those same MCP connected systems. The AI adapts to your playbooks instead of hallucinating new ones. And because MCP treats models as interchangeable clients, you can route heavy cases to a powerful large model, cheap tasks to a lighter model, and document intake to a vision model, all hitting the same context layer. Here is where the business stakes jump. Your real advantage stops being which model you picked this quarter. It becomes the context layer you have wired through MCP. If OpenAI, Google DeepMind, Microsoft, or Anthropic ships a better model next year, you can swap it in without ripping out integrations or retraining from scratch. The value lies in your connected workflows and data, not in the hype cycle. To see what this looks like in the real world, consider a property management company doing about $2.88 million in revenue. They recently exited for $22 million. That is roughly an 8 times profit multiple in a sector where 2 to 3 times is normal. The difference was not more doors under management or a charismatic founder. It was infrastructure built on MCP-style principles. Instead of relying on virtual assistants, inboxes, and spreadsheets, they built a proprietary AI stack with one standardized interface connecting every system. Every tenant interaction flowed through an AI agent wired into core tools via MCP-style connections. When a renter texted about a leaky faucet, the assistant pulled property details, maintenance history, contractor availability, and rates in real time. Then it made decisions, not just tickets. Over months, that system learned patterns no human manager could track consistently. Which buildings generated the most after hours calls? Which contractors slipped deadlines? Which tenants abused emergency lines? All of that insight lived inside the MCP connected stack, not in someone's head. To a buyer, that meant the business did not walk out the door when the founder did. They were buying an operating system, not just a book of contracts. Now, how do you bring this into your world? Stop thinking of MCP as abstract infrastructure and start thinking in blueprints. For local services like a dental practice, the first pattern is scheduling plus frequently asked questions. An MCP server sits between your AI assistant and tools like Google Calendar, your practice management system, and internal policy docs, automating bookings, reschedules, insurance questions, and prep instructions. For e-commerce, the high-impact template is simple. Where is my order triage? An MCP server connects your AI to Shopify or WooCommerce, your logistics provider, and shipping AP is. Customers type an email or order ID, and the assistant pulls real-time status, delivery estimates, and return eligibility without touching a human. Companies running this pattern often see 4 times support capacity because 60 to 70% of tickets are just tracking questions. Knowledge-heavy firms get a different blueprint, an internal research copilot. A consulting team wires an MCP server into Google Drive, Slack, and their proposal archive. Consultants ask natural language questions and get synthesized answers with source links, saving hours each week. Instead of digging through 5 years of decks and threads, they get instant context plus citations they can drop straight into slides. These 3 blueprints generalize fast. Any service business can copy the dental stack. Any online brand can clone the order tracking bot. Any agency or law firm can adapt the knowledge copilot. And thanks to tools like Zapier's new MCP integration, you no longer need to be a hardcore engineer to stand up an MCP-style server and start wiring your own workflows into it. Zoom out to the bigger picture. By 2027, the divide will not be between companies that use AI and those that do not. It will be between AI-native businesses with an MCP-style context layer and everyone else stuck in pilot purgatory. One group will have an operating system that compounds learning across every workflow. The other will have a pile of disconnected bots and a very expensive line item. So here's your move. Audit your current AI efforts and ask one question. Do these tools share context through a unified layer, or are they just clever one-offs? If it is the second, you are feeding the AI black hole. If you want a deeper dive into how to design an MCP server for your own stack, tell me in the comments. Subscribe for part 2, where we will break down concrete architectures you can copy and how to build a moat your competitors cannot cross.